Hey, so I'm doing another reading from my book. I'm just going to jump right in and I'm going to make it quick this time. So, again, just a prompt. I wrote this book and published it almost 10 years ago. So, I'm reading it from a different perspective and at a different age. And it's sort of like a reflection, retrospect kind of deal. But I'm also participating in reading the book the way I presented it to be read by others. So, and also it's kind of interesting for me to see and discover my younger self, and I can identify way better what I was trying to say. And it's interesting. It's almost like each page is like a frame, and within it there's some type of context, and I can now sort of take the frame and sort of look at things through various perspectives, and also look at what I have here and the components, and apply some knowledge into it and understanding, and reframe it, and sort of reconstruct it in a way that makes more sense to me now, and in a way that resonates with me inside, that gives a sort of instinctual feeling of like awe, and of like that I am here, I'm present, I'm in synchronization with who I am and where I am, and I'm very much present right now. I hope so. And anyway, so I'm just going to jump right in. It is 2 pages, not too long, hopefully. I'll try and keep it short. Okay. Insight is a gift, and within itself a paradox. Insight is the ability to see the sadness in beauty. Like a trend, human beings have the tendency to want to be included in the majority of society's common thinking. This trend is, in my opinion, due to lack and misunderstanding of insight. But like many of these people who follow trends, they simply buy the label, even if they do not know how to use the product. A large portion of society persists on making it very clear that they have recently purchased the latest insight. But like I've said, they usually have the minimal knowledge on how to use it. I find my analogy to be interesting over here. And I don't know what kind of metaphor is going to come here, but it's interesting. Okay, often the only point of it all is to be in with the crowd. It is almost as if these people ignorantly and habitually think insight is something to be owned, when actually it is an action and skill to be learned instead of being bought. In no way do I intend to stereotype unfairly or conclusively assume that my opinions of the majority's tendencies are correct. I am merely introducing an alternate, abstract perspective. Whether you agree or disagree, please keep in mind that this is not meant to offend you. I get the feeling that this majority can do nothing but fall into the habit of choosing to understand only the obvious outer layer and nothing deeper. A guess is not the same as an educated guess. I state the blemishes in society out of observation and not judgment. Have you ever noticed how the general human population lacks insight? So much so that the world ignorantly judges by the cover, oblivious to the fact that they have skipped over detailed content. Or context, I would rather say. Some do not even bother to read the back cover, some judge, some skip, and avoid depth because it is easier and more convenient. In the long run, it is not easier and more convenient, it's way more complicated. So it's and life is too beautiful to avoid and put on pause things that you know you need to process and go through it, grow through it. And you don't have to do that alone. You can do it with other people, and then you can experience growth as a being and as yourself, and you can become slightly more fulfilled or enlightened, or I could go on. Anyway, let me just carry on reading. Perhaps lack of insight is an inevitable and unchangeable flaw in society, or perhaps it is a skill that only a select few are able to learn and possess. I have a sense that lack of insight may very well be a gift if you justify it with the ignorance is bliss concept. The ignorance makes things lighter, similar to when one is within the shallows of the pool of difficulty. One has a better chance to be happy. I disagree, because when one chooses not to venture deeper, one is oblivious to what is deeper. That doesn't last long. And because one frolics in the shallows, it is much easier to swim. Okay, carry on. Hence, sadness and insight are often connected, as they are identically deep and complicated. Neither form part of ignorance, therefore they are much heavier. I view the insight paradox as a gift. However, it is an impactful figurative weight. One with insight should be prepared to carry a load. As I've said, insight is what allows one to see sadness in beauty and vice versa. It allows one to see further to both heights and depths. Insight holds intensity, very powerful. So it is best handled with grace and humility, not ignorance or impatience. I agree with that completely. In fact, that is the type of grammar that I would use nowadays as well. I would also include into life that some keys to and things to work on is your patience, mindfulness practice as well, seeking to sort of I don't want to say transcend, that's not into this frame of what I'm saying, but to want to grow and grow up. So like a plant, you don't want to grow upside down into the ground. I mean, you want to grow up, you want to bear fruit, become more and more mature, but still have that instinctual part of you that wants to seek joy in life, wants to seek the peace of life, and even pick up pieces and put it all together and walk in life and experience life being and like it is a journey, being inquisitive about it, really noticing as well and paying attention, becoming aware. And it is like color. It is like enriching life, and in such a way that you can see beauty, you can see the colors. It is like life can be black and white, and those are termed in design terms, they are actually called non-colors. But we need both. We need both to give contrast and to expose clarity. And they tint and tone, and they're used for adjustments, and it's usually with the intention to find that balance in between, so that you can get the most clarity and you can see the most relevance and what is meaningful to you in life and in your life, inside of you, that you are aware of, that carries you gracefully through. and this then can go into your consciousness and your perception of that and the workings of that, but that's for a totally different conversation. And I would like to carry on and just finish this page, and so I will. So I said that I view insight paradox as a gift. However, it is an impactful figurative weight. One with insight should be prepared to carry a load. I think to reframe that and say it in a different way, you can't just, and this ties into what I was saying earlier in the chapter. It ties into, you need to be willing. You need to it's a process, and you need to understand what insight is, and also if you misunderstand it, then you can end up with a framework and then some type of context that dumbfounds you, and then I make the argument that it is good to have these insights, to go through processes in which you may be dealing with things that are more deep, and maybe some suffering as well, and all these kinds of things that are a part of life. And the point is also not to avoid these things and parts of yourself, and to rather gravitate towards becoming more of you, and knowing that you don't know everything, but you know that fact that you don't know everything, but what you know is a part of knowing everything, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. As I've said, insight is what allows one to see sadness in beauty, and vice versa. It allows to see further to both heights and depths. Insight holds intensity, a very powerful intensity, so it is best handled with grace and humility. That is so true. Those are keys to life, but it is very important to understand those. Patience as well. That is a practice you can implement every day. Mindfulness, a practice you can put into every day. It will help you grow in many more ways than one. And funny how and I say in many more ways than one, than just one way. But it's when I say ways, I mean like it's almost like a coming together and like forming and transforming and configuring and coming to be, and instead of doing for what. And anyway, I think got a bit loopy there, and so I'm just gonna carry on. I'm aware of how the explanation might seem like a judgment and assumption within itself, but in no way is it meant to be a conclusion. In no way is it supposed to sum up to a single strict result. While sharing my perspective, I've attempted to keep speed wobble. While sharing my perspective, I've attempted to keep to two things: being respectful of others' opinions and being aware of the fact that I will never know everything. What I was just saying. Okay, you go, girl. I believe that a complete and full understanding is not possible, otherwise we could read each other's minds. That what I just said now, what I just read, that's completely different. I wouldn't put it under like a belief. I now put it in a different context, a different framework, a different conversation, and there's a lot connected to it. So That's just my opinion. Yeah, talking about opinions, um, and I feel comfortable knowing that we can't read each other's minds, but we can seek to try and understand each other, and try and tap in with each other and with ourselves into the bigger thing that is light and love and life, like agape. Um, and you can't fully take in and digest all of what it is, because then what would you be? Just part of consciousness, just part of intelligence? Would you have a body? It's different. I sincerely respect that what you may think you want. Oh, you may think what you want. It is your prerogative. And I always try to keep to the notion that I will never entirely understand others, nor can I make personal decisions for them. Therefore, what I can do is share sincerely and be open minded. Without performing stubborn stipulations or taking things personally, we can attempt to understand to a certain extent. And no matter what length, we are still able to learn. This is so true. And I would sub the word length. No matter what, how people are, this, that.